Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the other side here of my living room. In this video, we're going to be talking about the first 8 measures of Ladybird. But before we get to that, I want to say first, these videos are meant to be quick lectures that detail only parts of songs. That way, they're digestible. You can rewind, watch things again, so I want to keep them rather short. The second thing is I would highly suggest you download and you have open, while I'm going over this, you have open your Ladybird arrangement that you can see what I'm talking about while I'm discussing it. So here we go. Let me play the whole arrangement and then we'll just talk about the first 8 measures. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, so this song starts with, once again, we're only looking at the first 8 measures. This song starts with a quartal voicing. After you play G, C, you jump up to E in your left hand. There's a little bit of a mistake on the written notes here. The A above that is written twice, once in the bass clef and once in the treble clef. I would suggest just playing it with your right hand so that your right hand is playing A, D, G. So you jump down G, C, and you jump up to E, and then A, D, G above that with your right. And you have this quartal voicing, which is a voicing based on fourths. Very common technique used by jazz pianists when they want to highlight the color of a chord, particularly when a melody note above it is on a fifth or a root. And here, that's what's happening. The melody's on a fifth. And so what you have is a chord voicing where you have an E, which is the third, A, which is the sixth, D, which is the ninth, G, which is the fifth. So the chord is called, because you have your 6 and your 9, your chord is called C6-9. Very common voicing based on fourths. We'll get more to fourths voicings later in the semester. So we get to now the heart of the matter, which is why I have us doing this arrangement, is because it's built on the concept of drop 2, which is the measure, the third and fourth measure. Let me play those for you. Now, first off, we know from our drop 2, 2, 5, 1, 6 progression that when you do drop 2, you take a 4-note voicing where all the notes are within 1 octave and you drop the second note from the top. But when you do that and the thirds and sevenths are in the right area, you create really good voice leading between the top and the bottom note. And if you'll notice here, look at the very top note and look at the very bottom note, and you'll see the interval is mostly a tenth, except for the very last note in the melody of this first stave. That's just the bottom and the top note. It's all tenths. It works really well. I really like how drop 2 allows you to play something that isn't quite a specific voicing, but allows you to step into that voicing. Notice under the F minor chords you have G, C, E flat, and B flat. Now, that's not an F minor chord. How do we know that's F minor 7? Because of what it steps into right after that, right? It steps into F, C, E flat, and A flat, which is a very common, really vanilla, simple F minor 7 chord. You have your root, 5th, 7th, and 3rd. F, C, E flat, A flat. So the drop 2 portion allows you to move like that, and it feels like more is happening there than what is happening. You're just stepping using the scale in that 10th interval. And then we step into, this voicing we should be familiar with. This is our F minor 7 drop 2 that we would have done in class. If you did a 2-5-1 in the key of E flat, this would be your 2 chord, and this is the F minor chord you'd be familiar with. Now, the chord of the moment here is B flat. And so when you put an F minor chord like this over a B flat, the result is a sus chord. It sounds like a sus chord. Why does that happen? Well, because you have a fourth here over B flat, which is E flat, the note E flat, and it doesn't resolve to that D until the and of 2. When the chord becomes B flat 7, we know that there's a major third in there now with a sharp 11 on the top, which is the melody. Those 2 measures, now that I've explained it a little bit, those 2 measures sound like this. Right? Drop 2 allows us to create movement underneath the melody, and you have notes in the middle filling out those chords. So then we have measure 5. It's basically a repeat of the first 2 measures. Now we have a B flat minor 7 drop 2. If you did a 2-5-1 in the key of A flat in class, this would be the drop 2 chord that you'd be familiar with. Our thirds and sevenths are in our thumbs. I really like that. So we have B flat minor 7. We follow the melody, which happens above the held left hand. Once again, the same technique is happening here in measure 8 that happened in measure 4, where you put a 2 chord over its 5 chord. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, in measure 8, the chord portion, which is you have an E flat in the bottom of the chord, which is the root, and then you have A flat, D flat, F, C. That's still B flat minor 7, drop 2, just put over E flat. So we're putting B flat minor 7 over the E flat, and that creates sus, where you have a chord where it hasn't resolved yet. That fourth still hasn't resolved. It's about to, though. On the and of 2, you see it resolve to the third, while the melody goes to the sharp 11. And now those 2 measures sound like this. You see, the way that we use drop 2 in this instance, in these 8 measures here, is to follow the melody in a way that sounds like there's some movement and inner harmony, when really all that's happening is that it's following the melody by tenths as it goes through. Let me play the first 8 measures, and we'll be done. Okay, we'll pick up with the next 8 measures on the next video.